Hey, folks, it's T here with Life from the Patio. On today's show, we're going to talk about Texas Governor Greg Abbott's announced plan to pardon a man convicted of murder before he's even been sentenced. That's right, you heard me correctly. Abbott wants to let this guy off the hook for killing a BLM protester. As always, there's more to the story. No surprise, the Austin DA is speaking out against this decision, but it's not just the Austin DA. Look, this is right versus left. This is culture wars at its best. We've been talking about the Bud Light controversy. We're going to tell you what the VP said leading up to that, which probably makes a lot of sense when we talk about it. Let's shift gears for a minute. Have you seen the video of the female swimmer who was assaulted by the trans activists about speaking on women's rights? It ought to insult everybody. Then we're going to talk a little bit about China. They're up to some old tricks. They actually set up a blockade around Taiwan. You can't make this shit up, folks. We also have a surprise tonight. We've been talking about it. I'm going to put it on camera here. Hoggo's got something for us. Marty, what's Hoggo got for us?
Show us what Hoggo got.
We're ready. What's Hoggo got for us? Old Rip Van Winkle in studio. Unfortunately, Gary's not with us because if he can make it in before the show's over, we're going to do what we said, and we're going to sample Old Rip on the air tonight. Got a good deal on it. But while we're talking about that, here with almost a normal crew, Fortenberry, what are you up to this fine morning, evening, day? However you want to look at it.
Morning, evening, day.
All of it. Starting the week off.
It depends on when you're listening to it.
Man, we started ball this week for kids, and man, we are running ragged. Just T-ball and coach pitch, and still got dance going on. And
you dancing?
I'm dancing.
Pole dancing?
I'm dirty dancing.
So we're going to record live from your bedroom and watch you pole dance. I'm assuming it's in your bedroom, or is it in your
living room?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I mean, that way if the guests come in, they have access to it.
Yeah. Nobody puts Jamie in the corner.
Marty Marr, he has showed up with the Old Rip. How are you doing
today,
Marty
camera.
Marr?
He's on camera.
Whoa.
Doing great. I just want to give a shout out to Winslow Biggs and Kyle Coquit for us to have an opportunity
acquire
to get this bottle.
Oh, it's that Kyle?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that Kyle when y'all said it. Kyle.
A little bit more up towards you. There we go. Something about that mic. I don't think we use Gary's mic on anybody but Gary. Do you think he has it programmed where it only works?
No, I think Gary's not scared of slender objects in his face.
That's probably
everybody
true.
else shies away.
DW back in studio. How are you, DW?
Terry says back in the studio like I've been here, T. I missed a few weeks. He just missed me so bad. Yeah, I was here last week.
I guess he was here last.
Yeah, he was. It just feel like
I feel pretty good. I butt chugged a couple Bud Lights before we came in here.
That's the only way to do it, Bud Light.
I know now. That's it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I feel great.
There's no other option but to butt chug it.
Got to.
Terry's already got a technical.
He's pulling the plug on my mic. That's what, he's like, I got to take his mic out. Maybe that was wrong, though, because apparently they're moving away from the fraternity view and into a different world.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's get right into the stories today, folks.
Right into it.
So we talk Texas man sentenced to murder. Are you familiar with this story, fellas?
Vaguely.
At all? Okay, so during 2020, there was an Army sergeant. Let me make sure I get his name correct.
Was he was retired, right? Or
Daniel Perry. No, he was still in the Army.
Still active?
Yeah, he was still active. He was out doing an Uber call. He was out to pick up some folks from Uber, and it was during the George Floyd murder, or people upset about George Floyd. They were protesting all over the U.S. He pulled down the street. He stopped to allow a paraplegic woman across the street, and when he did, his car became encircled by BLM protesters, one of which was carrying an AK-47, wearing a vest, and had a huge knife on his hip. Now, this is where the BLM
I'm guessing his vest wasn't like level 4 or nothing.
I have no idea, but
probably not.
All I know,
he had the ones off Amazon.
It's probably level cotton,
but
I think it said neoprene.
Yeah, but still, it still can. He just weared it for the look.
He had a swimsuit on.
The Bass Pro Shop life jacket.
It definitely didn't protect him. So apparently, they approached and circled the car. Now, the BLM protesters say that he never raised his gun. The driver says he raised his gun. When he did, he shot him and killed him. Then they opened fire on this guy, and he took off running. Well, Texas has one of the strongest stand your ground laws in the union. However, when you're a George Soros-backed DA, and people say, oh, they say that every time, but it's true. This is how the left is taking over these blue states. is by taking over the legal system. They're taking over the DAs. They're supporting these DAs that have decided they're not going to enforce the laws unless they like the laws, and they only like the laws when law-abiding citizens are being threatened.
Well, if this happens too often, look at the couple in St. Louis. Look at New York right now, Chicago. All these DAs are agenda-based.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll let criminals out, but then they'll go after people that really shouldn't be going after. I mean, to me, this guy is just a epitome of F around to find out.
This guy faces life in prison. So they haven't done the sentencing yet. And unlike other states, Abbott can't just pardon the guy. It has to go for the parole board to agree to pardon him on these grounds. And, I'm not so sure they're going to do it.
So he was found guilty by a jury of his peers.
Yes, but it's in Austin. Have you ever been to Austin?
Yes.
Austin is weird. Is the name of Austin. And there's a reason I got.
They're proud of. They're proud of it.
Live in Austin,
so,
and it's different. It's not.
Right.
It's a red island in the middle of a blue.
So
state.
can I tell you about my experience with Austin before you jump on it?
I got something just.
Unless it's based on Austin.
No, what it is, but
okay. Go ahead.
Would a jury of your peers not be people who are like-minded like you?
It depends on who's picking your jury. Look,
But
I guarantee you,
to be a jury of my peers, I would expect them to be white conservatives.
Yeah, but I don't think that's actually the definition of
what
the
my peers would be.
Yeah, but that's not what it
I'd fight
means
in
legally.
court. I'd want nothing.
you'd literally jump up and fight. All right, DW, what's your Austin story?
Man, we showed
almost
up.
get
We had
shot
a
in
really, really late flight. We got delayed like 4 times out of Memphis. We were supposed to be in Austin at noon. We're going to hang out, do some things. We're going to a volleyball tournament.
Surprise.
In Houston. So we stopped in Austin. We were driving to Houston the next day. And, man, we got into Austin about 11 p.m., left the airport. It's about 11:30 by the time we got a rental car, headed out, stopped at a Wendy's.
I'm getting a background every time you talk.
Yeah, I feel some fuzz. I hear some fuzz when I talk to you. Started heading to our hotel. Under every overpass in Austin, there were hundreds of homeless people with tents and shops set up and all. It was just strange, man. There was a bicycle repairman, a vehicle repairman. Seriously, like they had signs for businesses in their little homeless area.
Capitalism, I love it.
It was just wild, man. There was like the bead lady that sold beads.
It's like the Wild Wild West.
It was weird to the point where it didn't make me uncomfortable, but it did make Amanda uncomfortable when we parked to walk to our hotel because we had to park in a garage several blocks away. And just all the people asking you for money and different things made her uncomfortable.
Hey, my first day in Nashville when I was working, we saw a lady perform fellatio on a guy on the corner. So, yeah, them homeless are wild, man.
How'd it feel?
It made my mouth.
Hold on, you did what? Oh. You saw what?
Well, look,
what did you just say?
Our first day in Nashville, me and Andy was working in Nashville. This lady was performing fellatio on the street, on the middle of the street.
Now, nowhere in Nashville have I ever been.
I haven't seen.
Oh, dude, homeless in Nashville big.
It is.
I don't mean physically. I mean there's a lot of.
You don't mean they're fat? They're obese.
Are you describing the gentleman you saw?
Yeah. Like I said, I mean my throat.
I'm pretty sure the noise is actually due to the batteries getting low, but
okay,
we'll try to make it through. We'll see if we make it through. Yeah, look, homeless is a real problem. It's a real problem, but I want to talk a little more about this.
You mean the unhoused?
The unhoused. Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza expresses his concern about the governor's intention to pardon him, who was found guilty of murdering Black Lives Matter protester Garrett Foster. The attorneys for Perry claim he acted in self-defense. Abbott has criticized the conviction and asked the board to pardon him. His fiancée, Whitney Mitchell, believes Abbott's action has taken away the justice. This was the BLM protester, I'm sorry. Has taken away the justice and relief that the jury's verdict brought to her.
I saw a interview with the police officer, one of the cops that was on the case, and he said the DA removed almost 100 documents from his slideshow he had for the indictment.
Why do you think this is? Is it because he's a white man?
No, it's because it's a feather in the cap. It's somebody who was against the BLM movement.
So it wouldn't matter.
They did not. They didn't get Kyle Rittenhouse, so we might as well get what we can.
Look, this story is going to be around for a while. I mean, thank God for Abbott trying to get.
You got to present proof.
I
for
heard
both sides. I mean, it makes it kind of hard when they're getting rid of proof.
Well, it's his said. He said she
it
said,
is, exactly.
And the witnesses claimed that they did not see him raise his weapon, even though the guy report said he did. But in reality, if all right,
it doesn't.
I want to put you in that position.
If he says he feared,
exactly,
he feared for his life.
So I want to put you in that
it was
position.
at risk.
So you already know what's been going on across the U.S., right? Mm-hmm. You have a weapon with you. You drive up and people surround your car.
What is that?
With an AK-47.
What kind of firearm did he have?
It's a pistol, I believe.
It's a pistol.
Okay.
It's a pistol.
This whole thing about people pointing a gun at you and it takes that to make you fear for your life is dumb.
You can fear for your life well before
mob
that.
mentality.
If I'm walking with my gun, you meet me in an alley and you pull a gun out of your pocket, I'm probably shoot you.
If I'm walking in an alley and there's a group of y'all surround me, I'm going to start shooting.
Look, I've taught my son, I was taught if someone brings a gun, or if somebody pulls a gun, you should assume they're going to use the gun.
The dumbest thing
and
is
I've told them, you never pull a gun unless you intend
use it.
to pull the trigger.
Yeah, that's right.
Never.
It's not a threatening device. It's
That's right.
The dumbest thing is a man that says I don't fear anything. Men do that kind of shit, right? I'm not scared of anything.
Well,
yes, you are. Fear is healthy.
Dude, I shoot a spider in a heartbeat.
You're scared to death of a spider and a clown.
And a clown.
No, but fear is a very healthy thing, and you should still have it.
A spider with a clown mask?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll put a genocide out on them.
So that's all it would take to put you down. Heart attack.
A heart attack, flat,
a spider
cold,
with a clown mask.
Cold. Or a clown with a spider mask. Either one, I guess.
Oh. Well, yeah, but they would need like a clown with like 8 arms and legs, not a clown, not a spider mask.
That's creepy.
Scary.
Maybe a spider with a clown.
So
mask.
So hold on.
I'm not scared of either one of them. That's creepy.
So it was a clown that was actually a spider. So that movie you cannot watch. That is your epitome of nightmare right there.
Well, the thing is, it turned into what you were scared of the most. He would freak out. Well, he'd freak out because he wouldn't know what to turn to. He'd just keep going back for a clown spider, and he'd just like.
And then I never saw the new one, but I read somewhere where they like having sex with children.
See, I thought the first half it was good. The second half I didn't watch. Apparently,
that's when they had sex with all the little boys. Yeah,
I lost something.
Yeah, apparently I didn't know that either.
I missed something. Yeah.
Bud Light, y'all know.
Speaking of having sex with children.
Welcome, Bud Light.
I don't know about you guys, but even in our local store, you couldn't find Coors Light this weekend.
Dude, Bud Light was stacked up 6 feet high.
Stacked up 6 feet high.
All their products.
Yeah, and I think everybody's wearing it with a bit of a badge. The fact that every store is full of Bud Light.
We was at a Crawfish Bowl, and we consciously looked to see what everybody brought in.
Did anybody bring Bud Light?
A few people brought in Michelob's, and we made fun of them.
Well, but see, I'm not so sure they knew. They probably didn't realize Michelob.
One guy told me, he said, "Man, somebody gave this to me." I said, "Why? Free beer is different."
All right, so 3 days.
I'm not going to make fun of you. If I want to drink a Michelob, I'm going to drink a Michelob.
I'll make fun of you.
March 30th. Hold on, let's back up here. March 30th.
I'm not going to drink it.
Bud Light's Vice President, Elisa Heinerscheid. If that don't speak woke, I don't know what does.
Sounds German.
Spoke on a business podcast and claimed that the brand had been in decline for a really long time. This is before the Mulvaney thing. The brand needed to attract more female and younger drinkers, or there will be no future for Bud Light. She wanted to update Bud Light's fratty and out-of-touch branding with inclusivity to appeal to a wider audience. Well, by God, she got what she wanted, didn't she?
I have several things to pack. Go first.
They were thinking about Bud Light as just Bud Light, not the whole Anheuser-Busch. So that's a bigger story.
Yeah, they were thinking about Bud Light being fratty, but is that not who their clientele is? Well, so you're saying you're alienating your clientele.
Marty speaks and makes a really relevant point. They have a lot more under their flag than Bud Light.
Well, here's what they didn't pan on, though. The right typically does not do a good job of boycotting anything or organizing a boycott or stopping buying anything. And this is the one time they said, screw that. I got options. And
I'm going to tell you right now, everybody that drinks beer knows. I mean, you know what your buddies drink.
You got people that'll live and die with Bud Light.
It's a badge of honor what people drink. Even people argue and give each other shit about what beers they drink. Look, dude, I can go through right now my list of friends. I can tell you what everyone on beer. I can tell you what beer they drink. It's important.
I'll tell you what I drank this weekend.
Name the podcast drinkers plus Marty.
I'll tell you what I drank this weekend. I drank bourbon, and it wasn't old Rip Van Winkle. And I drank Love Honey, Lost 40 that we talked about.
Well, I'll tell you right now. Till you drink some Mick Ultra or Busch Light, he'll drink kind of whatever. I drink Bush. You'll drink some IPA that you bring in. You vary on your IPAs.
Right.
Gary don't drink beer.
Speaking of which,
Marty drinks Bush Light.
Marty tried.
Easy. It's easy, right?
Marty
I
only
to
had
think
your
about
IPA left in his fridge, and he did not like it.
I had one of Donnie's beers, and I tried to get Coors Light. I got Miller Light yesterday, and I love honey.
You know,
IPA,
my
Marty?
wife, who loves Ultra Gold,
a
went
good
and bought
IPA,
Miller Light
man.
today or yesterday, and look, I gotta say, she's like Miller Light. It's not very good.
So
I'm not a fan of Miller Light.
So I've been drinking Yingling. I've done
Yingling is Anheuser-Busch.
Yingling's good,
No, it's
though.
not.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's the Yingling's own product.
It's the oldest.
I thought.
Nope. As a matter
bought
of
it.
fact,
Okay.
they came out and endorsed Trump in 2016 and got boycotted
Dang
by
it.
gays.
Let me look.
I'm gonna look right now.
Oh, y'all free to look.
I'm going to look. I don't have a clue how to spell Yingling. I'm going to guess.
Well, I think it's YEU.
Here's the question: is Yingling beer woke?
They used to be bottled by Coors, I believe.
I like
That's
Coors,
a-
by the way. And I'm talking about the Banquet. I'm talking about the Yellow
Oh,
Jacket.
dude.
Oh, yeah,
like
that's
those.
Hey,
awesome.
Miller High Life, the Pony Kegs, that's
Okay,
a good
they
beer.
don't like it. Yep. All right. But still, so they made a conscious decision to do this because they felt their brand was in decline, even though Bud Light is the flagship brand of beer.
So let me say this, and starting off with them being in decline, she's probably not wrong as far as they're losing market shares. And here's the reason I say that.
But they're losing it to.
Well, let me say this. They're probably losing it to themselves, but us, people our age, Budweiser was our dad's beer. That's old man beer.
Bud Heavy.
So
Bud Heavy.
the kids below us probably look at Bud Light as the old man's beer now.
So Yingling will remain independent, family owned. A 6-member board of directors evenly split between Yingling and Molson Coors.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
Molson. Yeah, Molson owns it.
So Heinerscheid previously worked as a marketing guru at AB InBev. That's the Portuguese company that bought
Yep.
Anheuser-Busch before moving to take the helm as Bud Light's vice president. So another thing that's occurred in the last 10 days, Bud Light's Twitter feed has gone dark. They haven't had a output. A lot of people think that they have they're taking a look at their internals. There was a report last week that went around that said they fired their entire marketing crew. That was wrong.
Oh, I'm sure it
That
was.
was
Yeah.
fake news.
Yeah.
That was
No,
fake
it's not
news
true,
because I
yeah.
looked it up. I wanted to
Right,
find it.
right now they almost have to double down and just hold the course.
Oh, you have no choice at this point.
Yeah, because they're not. If they come out and apologize or do anything like, they will catch someone. They'll be boycotted from two
From both
sides.
sides.
Are
Yeah,
you really-
it'll be worse.
So the problem is, though, it's woke. Are you really that far separated from Middle America that you believe your clientele for Bud Light? And we've already talked about the number of people that are transsexual. And look, I've seen 100 times this week. Everybody says, "Hold on, guys, we're not anti-LG and B. It's the T and transitioning all of our
Gosh, damn
kids.
Ts.
That's the problem." And look, that should be wore as a badge because for the longest, these same rednecks would be anti-LGB, and they're like, "No, we don't have a problem with LGBT.
They don't.
LGB, you're not forcing it down their throat, but the T is what people have a problem with." And look,
When you
I'm
bring
gonna-
kids into it,
but
too.
I'm going to tell a story here in a minute about Mr. Beast and this guy, his sidekick transitioning. And everybody will support this guy. You know what he said? He said, "I don't care what pronouns you use. I feel like I'm a woman. I've started the transition. I'm having hormones. I'm not going to force you to think of me as a woman." And you know what? I don't know of a grown person who would care because it's a grown man who's decided to make a transition. When we force our kids, or
Couldn't care less.
we're making our decision about the kids, that's the problem.
So here's my issue with inclusion, and I know inclusion is the buzzword of the week or the year, hell, probably decade. But the way they do inclusion now, they do inclusion by propping up somebody, which is excluding somebody else. So inclusion is you're welcome to drink our product. Putting somebody on a pedestal is what they're doing right now.
Speaking of pedestal, that's a good lead in for my next story.
It's just bad marketing.
Of terrible marketing.
Yeah, but it's a great lead into my next story. Speaking of pedestals,
what I'm here for.
Earlier this year, there was a swimming competition when we first got
was a good
introduced to
lead-in.
Leah Thomas, and there was a female swimmer by the name of Riley Gaines at the University of Kentucky who. She came out this past week. She said how she was swimming. She was at the top of her game, and she was adamant that she would win a national title. And said out of nowhere, several weeks before national championships, this Leah Thomas began getting times.
I will say this: she was adamant she'd win a national title, but she finished 5th, so she must have missed that.
No,
anyway.
she tied Leah Thomas.
They tied for 5th.
They tied for first.
That's the swimmer.
I double check. I think they tied for 5th.
No, I know I'm right about this.
Is Leah Thomas the swimmer with the rudder?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
and the balls.
but she said she started seeing Leah Thomas.
Tiring like a mug.
She has the balls to swim against women.
So Leah Thomas started setting times that nobody has swam ever. Which Leah Thomas, if you remember, is a transsexual.
He is 6'4",
and he was a middle of the pack swimmer. Actually, she
200.
claimed
He was over 200.
Well, she claimed he was doing 8th, finishing 8th leading up to this. But now this person identifies as a female. And it wasn't until a few weeks before the national championships that she realized there was a story about Leah and how she was transsexual. So she worked hard. They literally tied to the 10th or the 100th second and was a dead tie. The NCAA came out and told Riley Gaines that they tied, but they only had one award. They had not prepared for ties, that Leah had to have it so that she could be in photographs with it. So they took it away from her, basically.
And as of yet, she has not received her trophy.
She has not. Then let's fast forward to this weekend. She was at the University of San Francisco, or San Francisco State University, which someone invited her to speak.
Which, heads up, if you're going to go speak against trans, it's probably not the best place.
Go look at YouTube. Here soon. Next move we're going to make, you're going to be able to see clips here. Working on that now. It's more of a timing thing than it is being able to do it. We know how to do it. But trans activists.
Marty went limp over here.
Trapped this woman, Riley Gaines, in a room, and they were demanding ransom to let her leave.
Yeah, really, they asked for $10 a piece.
That's a felony.
Look, I'm telling you, no one
$10 a piece.
That's a crime. That's
no one got arrested.
She was in there for 3 hours.
No one got arrested. Look, if I had a daughter, I'm gonna tell my son this. Look, if you come out swinging, by gosh, you're getting out of there. No one's gonna hold you down. You come out and you walk out of there with your chest raised high, and because look, them folks were not very strong. They were pretty weak looking.
Well, they were men hit the hitter though.
Did they actually physically?
Yes, yeah. A man struck. It was a man dressed like a woman struck her in the face.
What the hell? Where's women's right? Why are the women not coming out?
This is misogyny.
Women should be pissed.
This is misogyny with extra steps.
Look, this dude has his twigs and berries. He has not made a full transition. He simply said, "I identify."
All I ask, if you're going to commit, cut them off. If you're dedicated,
I know it seems like we're stuck here, but
that's what's happening in society.
But it's what's happening, and you're not going. If you're a conservative person, you're not going to hear about it. So you hear about it here at Life from the Patio. But this woman is suing San Francisco State, and I don't blame her. She ought to sue the entire state of California because they did not protect this woman. They did not protect her freedom of speech. They did not protect her as a woman.
Did you see the announcement the dean from San Francisco brought out?
She should win
University of San Francisco?
without a court.
The dean from University of San Francisco, or president or whatever, she came out and said how proud she was of her students for supporting free speech and being nonviolent.
Freaking idiot.
I don't even have a problem with them protesting.
So what if
that would a protest?
What if we flip this and we make it racial instead of this gender thing? Because it's the same thing. It's all discrimination.
No, if I was to wear blackface and make racial stereotypes, first of all, I'd be buried.
I got news for you. If you just use a black meme, you're doing digital.
Unless you're Trudeau.
All right. So this leads into another story. So look, America's a bad place, y'all. If y'all didn't know it, it's a terrible, terrible place. But there's a new group helping trans people flee the U.S. because it's so bad here. Okay. A nonprofit organization. You want to guess what it's named? Transport. Was launched 2 weeks ago to help transgender people flee the U.S. in light of the increased number of events.
Where are they going to go? Iran? To buy people?
Look, the only place they could go is Canada.
They're going to go to Iran so they can have that nuclear family, Jamie, that you seek.
30 trans people, mostly young people in their 20s, have already applied for help from the group, with the majority of the demographic coming from
is there a place where we can
North Dakota. There's a lot of trans people in North Dakota.
Dude, you got literally, how far is it from North Dakota to Canada? How much help do you need?
So, I mean,
you got a point.
Is this one of those things where we can donate too? Or?
Yeah, so it's currently focused on fundraising so the group can cover most of its clients' costs. Founder Ryan Azario Wilgos
is getting rich off you guys.
Estimates that it will cost about $2,000 per person to go through the whole process.
He's a coyote.
Basically.
This dude's a trans coyote.
Okay, so Wilgos is considering moving to Iceland, ideally via a work visa. She said that some of her colleagues are considering going to Germany and Sweden. Why wouldn't you just go to Canada?
I'm thinking the Middle East is beautiful this time of year.
We have a real problem with mental illness. And look, we had another shooting today. We should have probably led with this story. We had another shooting. Guy got fired. He went and
way more important than this crap.
Shot up a bank in Louisville, Kentucky, where DW going this weekend. 23 years old. He actually wrote a letter to his parents. Look, if you lose your job, go find another damn job. There's two jobs for every person.
I'm going to say this, and this is one of the things that really stuck in my craw. Was the first thing people were doing was
anti-gun?
No, not even that. They're trying to find out what political affiliation this guy has, and he's Democrat, but that makes no difference.
Kill people, it doesn't matter.
No,
who cares?
But that's the first thing when the shooting happens. Everybody wants to know what gun he used and what's his political affiliation.
Okay, so this cat got fired from his job. Okay,
you mean Democrats can buy guns too?
He got, but look. This is a parenting issue. This is a mental illness issue.
Listen, I'm afraid with this generation we got coming in, we're gonna have a lot more of these, and it concerns me.
You know what? You get fired for your job, go find another job.
They've never been told no in their life. They've never been told you failed.
Yeah, take a step back. Really take a look at why you were terminated. Change your behaviors.
Me and Wes had a conversation today over this.
The Wes, who we hadn't heard from a long time. We need to get Wes back in here.
I know we do. The Wes, and he brought up a great point. He said, this is the fault of Gen X. And I was stunned. I was like, what are you talking about? He said, Gen X has convinced everybody that, we have to listen to you. We have to take you, you don't have to acknowledge you. And he brought up a great point. He said, how many times do you sit there with your son and pretend to care what Pokemon he's talking about? My dad, on the other hand, was that, son, I don't give a shit about that. Go on. I'm drinking a beer. Sometimes you need to know
that it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Look, you really leading me in really well. Okay, you're leading me in about demasculinity.
So that's my topic.
Okay, so and all right, this is crazy. My wife and I had a discussion this weekend, and she's really demasculated. She hit on something. No, it was the other. So this was an opinion piece I found on from Tim Pool. Okay. Reject modernity, embrace tradition. Can we bring back strong men and feminine women to the action genre? So, what prompted this? Well, I can't get the link to open. Why's my link not open? But the wife and I this weekend had a discussion, and it started with Disney. I think we blame Disney for this. Okay, so we went from Disney having female princes that were in distress to be saved by some.
But they were also the lead.
They were the lead.
But they were easily the most important character in the entire thing. Right?
But we made it a bad thing for some man to be in the league. So women needed to be powerful. They needed to be strong. And that's okay. Strong women. But every strong lead is now a woman. And men are portrayed as some weak, stupid, uncouth character. And so now young boys watch these movies, the Disney movies, they watch the action movies, they watch all these shows, and what they see is strong women. So you know what they want to be when they grow up? What do they want to be, Fortenberry, when they grow up?
Strong woman.
So Disney, the media, not just social media, but the movies, they're all creating an atmosphere that people want to be their heroes. Could it be that these are the reason these men, young boys, want to be?
So you could have a strong female lead or a strong female character without bringing men down. And now that's not the case.
No, you have to.
I'll tell you right now.
You have to.
Sigourney Weaver and Alien, that's the baddest bitch ever walked the planet.
Bad chick.
Yeah. But it didn't make the men look bad.
No, the men were hardcore too, but she was just mo hardcore. I mean,
we got G.I. Jane.
Yeah, G.I. Jane. There was a lot of really strong female characters.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with strong female characters.
No.
It's just a lack of strong male characters.
Well, right now, that's the only way Hollywood can do it is to make the men look weak to prop the women up, and you don't have to do that. First off, that's insulting to women because they can be strong on their own without men being weak.
They can be. But there's no reason that our children have to see it as such. There's no reason that the boys have to say the only way I can be strong is to be a woman, or to.
I don't know if y'all watched the Marvel movies and stuff. One of the grossest things I've ever seen in any movie ever was Avengers Endgame. There was a scene where all the women team up together.
And I thought it was a great show.
The show was great.
I thought
but
the
this
ending
was so
fun.
forced. It looked stupid.
Because they just had a bunch of women taking on Thanos.
Singly, every one of the women were badass.
What's bad is that as a society, we think that that for one thing to be good, the other has to be bad.
That's it.
Right.
That's a damn
opposites.
good point.
So while we're on this, we don't talk a whole lot about reading in books, but there's a book, probably can't see it if I hold it up. It's called Raising Men. It's written by Navy SEAL sniper instructor Eric Davis.
I figured it'd be written by a transgender.
No, it's not. If you haven't read
Raising
that book,
Men,
buy it on Amazon. Read the book. Especially if you have boys, just read the book.
I'm gonna check it out. And I'm gonna order that. Raising Men.
Raising Men.
And no one should be offended by it. It's just teaching your dude to be a gentleman and to be tough and not to be weak.
And on the same note, there's nothing wrong with women being ladies. Well, we've moved past that too.
Nothing.
There's nothing wrong with it. I think in the South that we have a little bit of different view, but when you look at any television program, when you look at any portrayal of people, look, I saw a post this weekend by somebody, I don't remember who, but they said, "Oh, I finally saw a commercial with some white people in it because that's the first commercial I've seen with white heterosexual people in it in months." And then I started thinking, I don't watch commercials.
I don't watch TV.
But then I was thinking, okay, well, maybe there's something to it. But also, this leads us into, we've been talking about this for a little while, and I don't want to get deep into it, but what are toxic chemicals doing to our genitals?
Shrinking our taints.
It's shrinking our tank. Or, no, it's expanding our tank.
No, shrinking it. No,
shrinking it. It's give it, because you got to measure.
The length from the scrotum to the butthole, the longer it is, the more manly you are.
Smaller tank.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that a little bit more, but is it microplastics? We'll get into it
So,
later.
Marty, this is your first day here, so what we normally do, we talk about this, we measure each other's tank.
And then we come back next week and we see if they're smaller.
So you measure mine first.
Yeah. You measure it, tell us how it goes.
But listen, you have to measure from the tip down.
The tip of what?
My tank.
Oh.
The tanks have a tip.
I was going to say there probably won't be much variation in the measurements.
All right.
Now been broken hearts if you measure from the tip.
China, the China virus, not the China virus, but China practices blockades on their last day of scheduled day of military exercises around Taiwan. So they decided, since, we're going to see if we could possibly do a blockade around Taiwan. Well, they were able to do it, and they sent live nukes.
Why would they not be able to do it?
They sent a plane
you live right
into
there.
the area with live nukes.
You do it with canoes. I mean,
with live nukes.
I mean,
I'm not impressed.
Look, that's going to be the next war front. It's not going to be Europe. It's going to be Asia.
It's going to be Southeast Asia.
And how important is Taiwan to you?
Well, we don't get any. We will not have chips anymore if.
And I love potato chips.
And they'll be short on their rice. So.
Yeah, because believe it or not, we actually provide rice.
Actually, we'll probably be dumb enough to still sell it to them for some reason while we're at war with them. Hey, we'll bring you some food.
Mark our words, the next major world conflict is going to be Southeast Asia.
China declares it's ready to smash any form of Taiwan independence. I believe it.
Is this the hill we die on as a country?
I don't know. Is it? I mean, we've done worse. I mean, we went into Iraq for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. I mean, I don't know what is there.
That was to get the Stargate portals, though, so we could transport through time. Man, you didn't know that?
I'm torn on this because Taiwan is really one of our biggest allies in that part of the world.
When you got to think about how important it is in that area, because China just goes out and builds new islands in the middle of the ocean, right? So all of those places over there are important to us. We have people there. We have planes there. We have military there.
I'm going to say this. This is completely off the hip here, but I'm not so sure North Korea wouldn't back a U.S.-led assault on China. It would be in their best interest.
See, I envision North Korea as the crazy uncle to China, but it may be wrong.
I don't know if that benefits.
I don't think that they would ever do that.
No, I don't. But I don't know if they'd ever get involved either.
Hey, all right, look, I got a couple more stories here I want to touch on. A cartel kidnapped a man in Texas after he bragged about stealing $50,000 from him.
It's the cartel. What do you expect?
Eric Tadeo Ramirez was taken by armed men from his residence in Laredo, Texas, to Mexico.
Look, you live way too close to the border to talk racket to the cartel.
No.
He was allegedly kidnapped. Where did he brag about it as? The kidnapping happened a few minutes after midnight on March 24th when a group of men allegedly belonging to the Cartel de Noreste arrived at his house in a blue pickup truck in Laredo. The men, all wearing masks, carrying guns, stormed the house and grabbed him. From there, they went to the port of entry and crossed the border into Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. Before crossing, he tried to escape, but was unsuccessful. Did they kill the guy? Let me see.
You think they had to? You think he had to show his passport when he went across? They're like, "Grab your passport, fool." They said it in Spanish, though. He was like, "What?"
So he received check this out. He apparently received a phone call from an unknown woman to whom he bragged about having stolen the $50,000 from the cartel.
Every man's downfall.
Look, this is survival of the fittest, and that dude's a dumbass. So whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, she called him and said, "Hey, get your bags packed. We'll be there in a minute."
That dude should have moved to North Dakota with all the other people and crossed for that $2,000 they're giving them or whatever. Could have saved some money.
Why is it so hard to get Adderall right now?
I don't know, but I've been wanting it.
Because Jamie's eating it.
Only when I want it.
So the shortage was announced in October. It's still ongoing, making patients, providers, and psychiatrists.
Hey, it's not just Adderall. My kids are the medicine they take. They're struggling.
Why is it? Is it coming from China?
Probably hard to get Adderall because you have so many adults abusing it.
Well, it's not just Adderall. No, it's this shortage has been going on for a few months now. Like Maddie had to change prescriptions, and
really.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, a lot of stuff they're picking up. Like Maddie's wasn't covered. The new one she's on now is not covered on insurance, so we're paying out of pocket for it. And because it's once you start branching off, some of the stuff's not covered by your insurance.
I wonder how often it's. What are all the? I don't have a kid that takes Adderall. I do know a lot of kids need it for.
Look, I'll tell you what, I'll take mine, bring me to your house, no Adderall, no medicine.
I don't want them. I don't want them. I'm not saying yours don't need it.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Just saying. I wonder how many times it's just like wrongfully prescribed.
So like I was dead set against having what do they call it? It's not.
Well, just any kind of medicine like that. Right?
Any ADD medicine. I was dead set against it. And Charlotte told me, she said, just imagine if you go your entire life being told, no, stop, don't do that, quit. And it kind of sunk in that, that's really not a good productive, that's not how kids need to be brought up, being constantly told no. Like, if Mac doesn't have his medicine, his teachers call us. Say, hey, did you forget to give Mac his medicine today?
This hits on, so kids 50 years ago, did they have the same problems, or is it new based on what Terry said with the shrinking taints?
No, I think it's probably the same thing, but those are the kids
based.
Those are the kids that just struggled and got left behind, or the parents beat the hell out of them. They were abused.
Yeah, could be.
I mean,
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either, man.
That's a good question.
Wouldn't it be nice to know the answer?
I mean, I know as an adult, I know full well I got ADD. I think I added a D.
Added a D.
But I mean, it was, and that's probably the reason I struggled in school.
Has anybody with a phone text Gary? Let's see if he's gonna make it.
Jamie, because
I'm about run out of stuff.
While he does that, there's something that's been weighing on my mind for a week.
Okay, all right, we're gonna let Jamie.
Your ADD was probably the reason I struggled in school too.
Mine was.
Dadgummit.
I need you to do a Yo Mama joke in the style of Theo Vaughn.
There we go.
Let's do it. We'll do
Theo
that.
Vaughn.
It's gonna be.
I thought we did it. I think I did that, didn't I? You sure?
It'll be a terribly funny joke.
I've been thinking about this all week. We need a Theo Vaughn.
I was trying to wait and do those on Thursdays, but we're gonna do it tonight.
Yeah, do it. We got to hear it.
Yeah, because I was thinking, who could be great? Because I was sitting listening, I was like, Theo Vaughn.
Theo Vaughn will say about anything.
Dude, he is so funny, and it makes zero sense.
None.
Or a story in the style of Theo Vaughn.
All right. Let's tell you want a story? What kind of story?
Do a Yo Mama story.
Yeah, do a Yo Mama story about in the style of Theo Vaughn.
All right.
Go have a cinnamon man in it.
It's a cinnamon man story. That's pretty damn funny. That's crazy is what it is. It's a crazy story. I meant to have this up already. Let me see. A Yo Mama story in the style of Theo Vaughn.
Terry types really fast. It would have taken me like 45 seconds to type that.
I'm going to try to tell it in this story, okay?
Sent.
Well, let me tell you something, man. Your mama's so old, when she was in school, history was still happening. This thing loves to talk history, but it keeps going. I mean, she's so old, her birth certificate says expired on it, and I ain't even talking about the wrinkles on her face, man. Them wrinkles got wrinkles. Let's talk about her cooking for a minute. Your mama's cooking so bad, the flies got together and fixed the hole in the screen door just to keep her out. I mean, her food's so nasty. Even the garbage can't handle it. But you know that's really crazy about your mama, man. She's so tough. She once wrestled a bear and won, and I ain't talking no stuffed bear. I'm talking about real live bear. That's how tough she is. So there you have it.
Cocaine bear.
Your mama's old, her cooking nasty, and she's one tough cookie.
It did sound like Theo Vaughn, I will say that, but it wasn't real funny.
There's a new comedian, I cannot think of his name.
I'm going to tell him write a joke.
Jake Raff or something like that.
Yeah, he's funny, dude.
That dude's hilarious.
What do you want to write a joke about?
Write a joke.
Let's write a joke about Bud Light. About Bud Light.
Oh, Bud Light, that's it better.
In the style
of Jake Raff.
And
that guy's funny, man.
You know what I was like? What's the guy that did the Big Baby episode?
Hey, let me tell you something, man. Bud Light, it's like the mull of the beers. You know, it's business in the front, part in the back. Because the first sip of Bud Light might make you feel like you're a fancy dinner party, but by the end of the night, you're stumbling around like you just left a kegger in the woods. I mean, Bud Light's so light, it's like drinking the ghost of a beer. It's like, did I just have a drink, or was that a figment of my imagination?
That's really
and
funny.
Don't get me wrong, I've had my fair share of Bud Light. It's like a good fallback beer, you know, when you're at a party and they're out there, everything, and you can always count on Bud Light to be there for you. But let's be real. If you're drinking Bud Light, you're not trying to impress anybody. You're just trying to get drunk, have a good time. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Sometimes you got to go back to basics, enjoy the simple things in life, like cold Bud Light on a hot summer day. Just don't expect any awards for your taste in beer. That's all I'm saying.
So think about that and how different they're. So that gives you an idea of what the normal perception of their brand is, and then how much they deviated from that.
Well, not just that. Something that struck me is they were talking about their clientele. You're not selling to business.
Oh, that's your clientele. Exactly what that just described.
Yeah. Yep.
It's us. Eat crawfish.
It's country folks
maybe
in the woods.
fist fights.
Yeah,
running yo-yos.
Now this is the type of thing, though. Write a joke about transsexual people drinking Bud Light. Guess
I
what
won't do it.
I'm sorry, I can't fulfill this request. Jokes that target marginalized communities or promote discrimination are not appropriate or acceptable. I'm gonna see if it can be fat.
So write one about rednecks. Write one about
that's
rednecks.
What I was supposed to say.
It'll write that joke. I promise.
So let me ask you: can you be a marginalized person while you're on the cover of a beer can?
I don't know. That's fair enough. That's a fair question.
I'm like Donnie. Write one about
rednecks.
Oh, it'll have all kinds of redneck
drinking
jokes.
Bud Light.
About rednecks. It'll make it.
I ain't got no teeth. That's gonna be some shit like that.
This is in the style of Theo Vaughn. Here it goes. Well, let me tell you something, man. Redneck and Bud Light go together like biscuits and gravy. I mean, you know a redneck is nearby when you hear that sweet sound of a Bud Light cracking open. It's like their mating call or something. And you got to love the redneck dedication to Bud Light. They don't need no fancy craft beer, imported beer, no sir. Just give them a cold Bud Light and they're happy as a pig in mud. And let's be honest, Bud Light is basically the official sponsor of redneck activities. See, everybody knows that.
And there is not a redneck
not anymore.
Hunting, fishing, mudding, you name it. If there's a redneck doing it, there's a Bud Light nearby.
There ain't.
But you know what's really crazy,
redneck.
man? Rednecks will drink Bud Light no matter what the occasion. Funerals, weddings, baptism, you name it. They'll even drink it for breakfast. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't think I could handle a Bud Light hangover before noon. So there you have it. Rednecks and Bud Light. It's a match in heaven.
All right, so fat people and Bud Light.
There we go, because fat people's...
Yeah, that's right now. That's a borderline
close, right? It may not
Gary respond?
About fat people. How about say Lizzo?
Well, that hits a lot of
I guarantee you Lizzo would drink a Bud
marginal
Light.
communities.
You put Lizzo?
I'm sorry. No, it won't let us talk about fat people. Let's try Lizzo.
So apparently bread dicks aren't marginal.
Guess not.
Write a joke in a style Theo Von about Lizzo drinking Bud Light.
I'd go see.
Well, let me tell you something, man. Lizzo and Bud Light, now that's a combination you don't see every day. I mean, Lizzo's all about self-love, body positivity, and love. Bud Light's all about, well, getting drunk on a budget. But you know what's funny? I can totally picture Lizzo sipping on a Bud Light and just owning it. She's got that confidence. You know, she could drink a whole case of Bud Light and still feel like a queen. But I do have a question, though. How does Lizzo balance all that twerking with a can of Bud Light in her hand? Yeah, they don't really talk about her like that. But
so what if they would have used Lizzo as a promotional person for Bud Light?
Nobody
would anybody
cared.
have been offended?
No.
It actually would have probably been.
I would have. I'd
good.
ready to tell, but you know, it would have made no big deal. But
that's just
told you.
That's just because I hate Lizzo.
That's your crush. That's your crush.
Yeah, it is.
Dude,
she crushed me on top of me.
He says he hates Lizzo, but if he would have been on the street in New Orleans and he saw Lizzo, he'd be dancing with her in the doorway.
I think I did dance with her.
I'm certain you did, actually. That's for another story.
Proves my point.
I've run out of stuff. What y'all got for tonight? Part word. Anybody got some part words? It looks like we're not sampling old rap.
No, we're not sampling it.
Everybody go out and snort a Bud Light.
All I can say is
no, they're still in Memphis.
all right.
Yeah.
Guys, we enjoyed it. We'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
Hey,
Love one another.
Share your bourbon with your best friends. And
Go
family.
like us. Go like us.
Share your Bud Light with your boyfriend.
Best friends.
Y'all best friends. My bad.
I had something I was going to say and that completely threw me off.